Hello everybody, CritCrab here with another couple stories, one about that guy's trolling attempts backfiring on him, and another about a guy who tried to bully a person with a disability out of their game, only to make himself look like a complete idiot. I have so much stuff here to show you today, but first, here's a message from today's sponsor, World Anvil. Have you ever built a world, or have you ever been interested? If so, I'm sure you felt intimidated in one way or another by the sheer amount of work that goes in. Not only in the world building itself, the fun part, but by all of the organization, note-keeping, and the inevitable hours spent tracking down that one important piece of lore that slipped between your digital claws, forever lost to the ever-increasing list of documents. Well, do I have some good news for you. World Anvil is the ultimate tool for any and all prospecting and experienced world builders. Now, I've been repping this site for some time now, and in that time I've created my own world which I run not one, but 2 campaigns out of. First, I imported this map I made in like 5 minutes. Then, whenever I had a cool idea that I wanted to throw in there, it was super easy because all I had to do was choose one of these options, write my piece, and rest easy knowing that if I ever wanted to find it, all I would need to do is go to the corresponding category and boom, there it is. Then after I'm done writing all the lore, instead of having a huge pile of disorganized notes, I had a well-organized library of content at my claw tips. And I didn't even have to try. So you see, you can maximize the time spent enjoying world building and completely eliminate the time-consuming organization. So what are you waiting for? Go check it out. There's a free version, but if you use the link below, I will send incineration crabs to live in your wall and protect you in your hour of need. You also get 30% off any 12-month World Anvil membership, which is even better. Hello, new to the sub, but CritCrab showed the way, so I felt I ought to share my story. I've been playing with some variation of my current D&D group for nearly 10 years, meaning that many people have came and left, but the main core of the group remains. I both play and DM on occasion. However, the antics of another player is what caused the issue. This player, T, had issues with me in real life, which bled into the game. I always tried to separate D&D from real life to enjoy the game, however, I eventually felt something had to be done. Events kicked off when we were in a tavern setting my friend was DMing us through, where we were attacked by flying brooms. The fight dragged on and went over multiple sessions, so much that a new PC joined us. T helped this person create his character, and when the new PC arrived, he immediately attacked me and T joined in. I defended myself, and the rest of the party either helped me or stayed out of it. I downed the new person, and then the DM defused by the brooms attacking again and canceling the fight. I found out that T made his character hate my race, dwarf, for killing his family as a joke to try and kill my character instantly as soon as he arrived, and was pissed I fought them off. The group grew too large, and then the DM split them into another group at my request, and the campaign fizzled out quickly after that. I then took up DMing a Lord of the Rings campaign. I didn't exclude T, as I try not to be like that, but it quickly became apparent that T was only playing to wreck the campaign. He was a Gondorian, we were in MT, so he acted like he knew everyone, insulted the steward, and prepared to fight the palace guards immediately, only stopping after me and another PC intervened to smoothen things over. I then decided to DM Curse of Strahd and wanted a serious game, so I invented some people from different groups and hit player limit quickly. I am new to proper DMing and can't rebalance encounters, and created a separate Discord for it. I asked that it be kept on the down low to not offend anyone, but when it got out, I apologized to those I didn't invite and explained why. Everyone understood and weren't offended. All except T. He went off on a rant and told me how horrible I was, stating he was going to DM a game and I wasn't invited. I spoke to my friend who was the head GM for my event, and he said that he would let the group know. Suffice to say, nobody showed up for his game when they knew the reason for its existence. I offered an olive branch to T by running a second game for those who got left out, even though my schedule didn't really allow for it, and invited T too as I really didn't want to cause aggro. He declined. Everyone else said yes, and we had a great evening exploring a mansion. TLDR, player targets me over multiple games and gets mad when I exclude him. I invite him to a game as a sort of apology, and he turns it down. We have fun regardless. End post. Well, first things first, unlike most stories, this one could not have possibly ended well for anyone regardless of how much communication went into it. The person who joined pretty clearly just wanted to bully OP first and last, made evident by how they joined the game immediately hostile to OP, treats them like trash, and still gets upset when OP avoids them. Not to mention the IRL problems brought up that probably caused all this. The only thing OP could have possibly done better is be less accommodating to that guy. Don't take this as victim blaming because I understand how hard it can be to stand up for yourself and block out bad people, especially if you are more empathetic in nature. But I hope what OP took from this is that you do not have to put up with people whose only interest is dragging you down. In my opinion, trying to be diplomatic and extending an olive branch by inviting that guy to a game was very kind and thoughtful, but it only works if that guy is also willing to extend themselves to make things right, which they clearly are not. To some types of people, kindness is an exploitable weakness, a sign that they can continue to walk all over someone. There is a case to be made that the DM should have intervened or that OP should have had a serious discussion with the group about that guy and whether they belong in the group, but I think that guy found out for himself how pitifully stupid he made himself look and chose to decline and probably wants to take a few steps away from this whole mess, judging by how they split from the main group. Anyways, next post. I was hosting a homebrew game, even though I was a player, every Tuesday night with a bunch of friends. Pretty weird, but it was my only day off and I was working late at a restaurant, so we decided that it was that day of the week. We were a pretty big, yet functional party of 7 players, and this particular DM was experienced enough to manage us all. Some months later, my boss asked me if I could help on breakfast for some time since there was a cook that just stopped showing up, and I agreed. The woman I was helping with this shift was an old lady, late 50s, maybe early 60s, but as we worked together, I realized that she was a total geek. I was about to talk about the campaign, but as soon as she heard D&D, her eyes went wide open, and she asked me if her son could join. It was his dream to play, and his brother promised him that he would eventually, but said brother never had the time because of his work. Since I was the one hosting the game, I agreed instantly. The more the merrier. She then warned me that her son was disabled and he might feel insecure the first few times, which wasn't really an issue for me. I consider myself a good host, and it's really easy to feel comfortable at my place. I pay for the pizza, the beer, drinks, snacks, everything's on me. So I asked my DM the same day, and he said it was okay. The next Tuesday, she and her son, which we will call him Alex, were in my parking, but I realized that Alex was hesitant about getting out of the car. I went outside to greet him and noticed that he brought his lunch, even though he knew that it was not necessary. At that point, I was able to estimate his level of anxiety. He was about 25, and the way he was talking and moving, I figured out that he was bullied a lot when he was younger. 5 sessions later, Alex was the most comfortable at the table and pretty much one of the best players. And now, brace yourself for the bad part. My DM, whom we will call John, started to get irritated by the fact that Alex was solving puzzles at an incredible speed, kept the narrative going faster than he expected, and literally every session became improvised halfway. Alex was a beast. All of the other members didn't seem to mind and actually liked him. John talked to me in private saying that he felt like Alex became the main character and we were just his sidekicks, which I found absurd. John then went saying the same thing to all the players, which at one point convinced them. The next couple sessions, John started to literally ignore Alex at the table and by one point told me that 8 PCs is too much for him, which could have been true, but I knew this guy DM'd parties of 10 in the past. I confronted him about it and said that he just didn't want Alex in the game. Since I was the one hosting the game, I told him to shut up and deal with it. And so, he did. By this point, he told everyone that he wanted him to leave the game, and if Alex wouldn't move, he would kick me out of it so someone else could host. The next session, John turned my character into a vampire, which I actually thought was pretty cool, but since I didn't have a coffin, my character would just die in the sunlight. Alex got the idea to hide me in the party chest. The PCs didn't know I was turning, they just thought I was dead, until we could find a proper burial site. So the party chest became my coffin, which I still laugh about to this day, but then my DM came up with a new rule. Since I was turned but not released from the one who bit me, I had to do everything my master commands me, and asked me to, you guessed it, kill Alex's character for no apparent reason. I responded that since he's the one who got me a coffin and saved my life, I would never harm him. My character was loyal as fuck, that was literally on my sheet. The session afterwards, Alex got cursed by a witch. The curse? You can't gain anyone's trust or... One second. The curse? You can't gain anyone's trust or loyalty since it happened after I was turned. I wasn't a living being anymore, which made me unaffected by the curse. And then, the final session. John turned Alex into a werewolf and said, "There, you guys hate each other now." Me: "Are you serious?" John: "Yeah, it's a well-known fact that vampires and werewolves are at war." Me: "You never said anything about having a werewolf-vampire war in your world." John: "I just made it up. Now, Alex, you've just lost your last and only friend in the party. Do you leave now, or are you waiting for him to kill you?" Alex started shaking, and I saw tears coming out of his eyes. I then stopped the game and told John to fuck off, and it was the end of our campaign. To this day, me and Alex are still friends, but he never played D&D again. He said that being bullied in games sucked as hard as in real life. I tried to convince him to join me in a game that I DM'd, but he never agreed. TLDR, experienced DM bullies a disabled kid out of D&D only because he was a good player. End post. This is just disgusting. Between the probable jealousy, shifting goalposts, and bullying, this John character just sounds insecure that he was concerned people liked someone with a disability more than him. Or maybe he just doesn't like being around people with disabilities. Or any number of bad reasons. What matters, and what makes this whole thing sound extremely shady and dishonest, is how comically bad he was at naturally shifting goalposts. We need to kick him out. What? No, okay, fine, I'll make him uncomfortable so he leaves. Wait, no, that's douchey. Okay, I'll throw Alex and everyone who is cool with him out. Oh, for some reason I never followed through with that. Okay then, fine, you're also a vampire. Wait, that still makes literally no sense for you to want to kill Alex? Okay then, fine. Now he's a werewolf, and everybody knows vampires and werewolves hate each other. I mean, come on, what is this, fucking Twilight? The whole thing shows how dishonest and shady he is. And he had no justifiable reason to want Alex gone. Otherwise, he would have explained it and everybody else would have understood and probably agreed. Instead, he tried to create fake, stupid, made-up reasons that only served to make him look like an idiot that also doesn't like Alex for some arbitrary reason that I guess we'll never really know. You can see how blatant he is about wanting Alex gone by how he literally says he made up the vampire-werewolf war on the spot, obviously signaling to everybody else that he just doesn't like Alex and will make up whatever he has to eliminate him. As this whole situation was unfortunate for everybody involved, and I especially feel really bad for Alex, and also as John didn't even try to hide his dishonest and cringy attempts at getting rid of somebody, I'm gonna put this story in deep horror and mid-range cringe. Anyways, if you want to take away John's dice, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel to evolve to Crab. Till next time.